What's up, everybody? We are finally back working on the Moto-4. So today we're going to be looking at this carburetor. As you can see, it is pretty nasty. Even on the inside here, I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but it is just covered in dirt and all sorts of just nasty things. So we're going to tear this down, clean it up, and we got a whole rebuild kit for it. So we'll replace all the jets. Hopefully she'll run like brand new. So to start off, we're going to take off this boot. We're just going to remove this breather tube, just pull it off. And I'm going to take carb cleaner, I'm going to spray down the whole outside of this carburetor. And I have an old toothbrush. I'm going to go ahead and try to clean it up as best as I can. That way all this dirt that's on the outside, once we open up the carburetor, it doesn't find its way to the inside, and then it just really reduces the possibility of clogging up the jets once we get it all back together. Go ahead and clean it up. It's not perfect by any means, but we got all the big shmoo off of her. So next we're going to go ahead and remove this cover. There should be a diaphragm and a spring behind it. So next up we have our pilot screw. I'm going to go ahead and turn this in until it seats, and I'm going to count the amount of turns that it takes to get there, and I'm going to go ahead and write that down. That way I know when I reinstall this, I can go ahead and seat it the whole way and then back it out that many turns, and it'll be exactly where it needs to be. Okay, so it's seated at 1 1/4 turns. We'll go ahead and remove it completely. Next up, we'll go ahead and remove the float bowl. It is as simple as removing these 4 screws here. And this float bowl is not exactly in the greatest shape. You can see there's a ton of crap in there. So it's a good thing we're going ahead and just tearing this apart. We'll have to be sure we clean all that up. So I do want to mention that when you remove that pilot screw, there is a spring and a washer that are behind it. I'll show you them right there. So when we're going to assemble it, this washer is going to go in first, the spring will go on top of it, and then the pilot screw will go on top of all that. So next up, we're going to remove our main jet washer. It's just as simple as pulling it off, and then we're going to remove our float pin, which will allow us to remove our float. I did have to use a little bit of force, but I got it loosened up to the point where I can get it out now. So you just slide that pin out, and then your float comes right off. Alright, so next up we're going to remove, this is the needle valve seat. We're going to remove that screw, which will let us release that. There should be an O-ring behind that. And then we're going to remove the main jet right after. So I'm having a difficult time getting this needle valve seat out, so I'm going to let that go for now. And then in order to get this main jet out, what I did was I screwed this screw back in here, took the top of the screwdriver, just tapped it down a bit. As you can see, that main jet is starting to come out, and now I should be able to push it the rest of the way through. So unfortunately I didn't catch it on tape, but in order to get this the rest of the way out, what I ended up doing was sticking an Allen key down in there and tapping it out with a hammer until this main jet just came the whole way out the top. And surprisingly, I don't know if you can tell, but you can see right through all these holes. So even though the carburetor is pretty gummed up, this main jet is fine. So a couple other things we're going to do is this idler adjust screw. We got a new one in the kit, so we're going to go ahead and remove that. We're going to go ahead back over to the float bowl, and this is your starter jet, so we're going to go ahead and get that removed. So now that we have our little starter jet removed, now comes the fun, painstaking part of cleaning up all these components. Pro tip: if you have any components that are made out of plastic, such as your float, any sort of plastic covers, any gaskets that are made out of rubber, your diaphragm that's made out of rubber, or any plastic covers with rubber components on them, you do not want to use brake cleaner on these components. It'll eat away at the plastic, it'll eat away at the rubber, and you're going to get leaks, you're going to have a failing carburetor. So don't clean these with carburetor cleaner. Pro tip number 2. If you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, husband, wife, parents, anybody that lives in the same house as you, you're going to want to get them out. Give them your credit card, tell them to go shopping, give them some money, tell them to go to the gas station, get some candy. Then you can clean your carburetor in your kitchen sink. Just make sure you clean up when you're done, because you don't want them finding out. So in order to clean all these components, I'm going to be using Dawn dish soap with the ducts, of course. If it doesn't have the ducts, don't even bother using it. I'm also going to be using that toothbrush. So these rubber gaskets, I'm not even going to bother cleaning them. I have no intentions on reusing them, but I am going to hold on to them in case ones in the new kit don't fit. I'll have these as a backup. And here's what everything looks like all cleaned up. Not too bad. I still got a little bit of work to do on that, but for the most part, much cleaner than it was. So I was able to get this needle valve seat out. I had to put a pair of vice grips on it, put the vice grips in a vise, clamp them down, and then I just grabbed hold of the carburetor with both my hands and wiggled and pulled until it eventually popped out. So now I got everything out of here. We got this bowl that needs cleaned up real good. So we're gonna get this clean, that cleaned, and we'll be ready for reassembly.